is that going to affect the way Carson Strong is evaluated heading into this game on Sunday?
I don't think so. Um,
Just money?
it's a rounding error. I mean, if he makes the team, his salary, I forget what the minimum salary is, over it's 800,000 somewhere. He's making far more than that. To me, the ego comes into it with undrafted players, like I was saying, the BLG. One of them's going to make the team, always.
Mac and Mac guys here on Birds 365. Appreciate your streaming on in. It is the first show after the first game, which seems like a month ago, and it was actually only 2 days. Time flies when you're getting prepped for a regular season, which Eagles are, and I thought they got a good prep out of the game against the Jets this week. The offense gets an immediate score right down the field, 80 yards. Hurts throws it 6 times, completes all 6 passes. Perfect quarterback ranking, as Johnny has noted a couple of times already today. Can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah.
And all those positives, which we continue to reiterate, that he's a take charge guy, he's a leader, he's got a great attitude. Love all those things. I certainly agree with all those things, but those things get pushed to the back burner if he's not doing what he's supposed to do when the ball's in his hands. Well, he did exactly that on Friday night. Everything he was supposed to do, threw on time, threw accurately, got it to the right guy, didn't force it to anyone, which I'll be honest and say, listen to you guys, because I'm not there at practice, you are, that it's always about A.J. Brown. He did the first A.J. Brown, looks for A.J. Brown, at times forces it to A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's good enough to make plays even when he's well covered. You got to be able to spread the ball around in the National Football League, and damn if Jalen Hurts didn't do just that on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, that's you can't criticize Jalen Hurts' performance. You just say it's a small sample size. Don't get too excited. He's not going to keep 158.3. I can guarantee that.
No. You mean by the end of the second regular season game, he's going to be down from his perfect quarterback ranking?
I'm going to take the under. If he does play, he might not even play. He might finish the preseason with a perfect passer rating, Jody, because he might not play, but the joint practice.
He's not going to get in again.
Yeah, Cleveland. So NFL record, baby. That might be the new record that I cite with the Baltimore Ravens, especially if the Ravens ever lose a preseason game. Yeah, that might go down in history as the best preseason passer rating of all time. So, look, solid performance, and all positive. But it is true. I will say it's not just A.J. Brown. It's Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert actually has more targets in practice than A.J. Brown. So it's Dallas and A.J., Dallas and A.J., Dallas and A.J., Dallas and A.J. practice. The Jets took that stuff away, except for the Dallas Goedert touchdown, and he went to different receivers. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back. I got the game on tape. I watch it live, but I taped it and saved it. Was it Sauce Gardner matched up against A.J. Brown for the 8th place that A.J. was out there? They took it away. I don't even remember who was covering him in the plays that he was on the field.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't paying much attention to what the Jets were doing.
Yeah, nor did I. That's why I'm asking.
But I think it was more, and like I said, on the touchdown, I do know 2 Jets kind of leaked towards A.J. Brown, and that's how Dallas Goedert got separation. So, I mean, those guys are going to get their targets. I don't think anybody's worried about A.J. Brown getting his targets, especially as a game moves on. He's going to be a significant presence on the field, and that's how he described it. Same thing with Jordan Davis on defense. His presence is going to help, but he's also going to put up numbers. So you have both, best of both worlds there.
And this is almost going to come off as sacrilegious. despite the fact that the Eagles committed 2 offensive line penalties in the first 6 plays of the game.
Yeah, they got a
Lane,
holding on Jordan and a false start on. They had 5 offensive line penalties as a whole. They had 3 false starts, a holding on Jordan Mailata, and a holding later on the great Bill Dunkel, who's now gone. So five total.
And
Line.
5 total over the course of a whole game it's high, but it's not outrageous. But 2 penalties in the first eight snaps with Lane and Mailata, your 2 studs, your 2 tackles, and they didn't let that affect them. They just after they take the Jalen run off the board, he goes right to Goddard for a 22-yard touchdown. So you forget about the fact that, hey, guys, come on. We're trying to advance football here. You can't be taking foolish penalties.
Well,
right off the bat.
And, people kind of forget, and Brandon brought it up, if Quincy Williams wasn't a dummy on that play, it's 4th and 5.
That's true, too.
And the drive is essentially stopped. They might go for it because it's preseason, but who knows what happens.
Yeah, how many did they go for 4th downs the other day?
3 or 4. 4, I think. 4, maybe. Yeah. I mean, why not?
I thought for a second there Dougie P might have been coaching.
Yeah. Well, people taking 20-yard. I was watching. Who was on yesterday? It was a standalone game. I already forgot.
Yesterday's game was
Las Vegas in Minnesota.
Bleed 1 and 3. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Re-air of Super Bowl 11, Vikings Raiders.
So no Kirk Cousins because he tested positive for COVID. Boy, do they have a bad backup quarterback situation. Minnesota, they better.
Not a Kellen Mond fan.
He can't beat out Sean Mannion, so things are not going well for Kellen Mond. I thought he had some talent coming out. By the way, I think they should force feed him over Sean Mannion. Figure it out. He's got to be more talented than that guy. But so they're driving the football. I think they're down 14-0 or something like that. They finally get a drive going, and they get stopped inside the 5, and they're kicking a 20-yard field goal. I'm like, what is the point of that in the preseason? They have a good kicker for the first time in years. He's going to make a 20-yarder. I mean, why not push the envelope? I like that the Eagles went for all those 4th downs.
Right. It's the outcome of the game is really rather irrelevant, or at least it better be, because the Eagles ended up losing the game. Let's not forget. It's what you can work on, what you can get done, what you can put yourself in specific situation to test players and give them a basis for what you make.
4th down, they were 4 of 5, Jody. 4
they were 4 or 5. That's
4
good.
or 5. That is 80% for the math deficient. That's pretty good.
I am a math deficient, but even I knew that one. And good for Sirianni, because I'm with you. That's why you play these preseason games, is to test yourself. And dropping back and punting is not testing yourself. Even though Sipa's hit a couple of decent punts, which you and I have been kind of rolling our eyes on all off season. How do they not at least bring a punter in to compete with them? They just flat out like the guy, and he was not bad in the first exhibition game, but that again doesn't tell you anything because he was really good for the first third of the season last year. The last 2/3, not so good. We shall see. And the Eagles' coverage was not good on special either. And sorry to say, because I know he's got a little bit of a fan base here. At least that's what I judge by my social media and or the calls I get on WIP. Britton Covey didn't jump out and do anything.
No, and he got hurt. He got hurt too. And he thought he tore his ligaments. And that's what he told a bunch of reporters. And Nick Sirianni talked about that yesterday. He's like, he's not a doctor. He shouldn't have said that. So he sprained it. So at least his season isn't over. But yeah, he didn't stand out. I mentioned 4th downs, Jody, but 3rd downs, that was probably a big issue. That might have been the biggest issue. They were 5 of 17 on 3rd downs, and the Jets, conversely, were 8 of 15. So that was probably again, for the majority of that game, you're talking about second, third team players, but the Eagles weren't good on third down. The Jets were good on third down.
Right. And that's how you get to 5 fourth down decisions, by not converting on third down. If you continue to come up short on third, you're going to have to face those fourth down decisions. And they, as you converted, as you pointed out, converted 80%, which is a good number. But you'd like to avoid that altogether if you can. Yeah, you guys have talked up Reed Sinnett a little bit. And again, I'm not there, so I'm taking your word for it that he's looked good in practice. The fact that he's looked better than Carson Strong, I think, is accurate. And
which may have helped, by the way. The context of watching him next to Carson Strong may have overvalued Reed Sinnett.
So, again, projection this week. And the all-important dual practices will be Thursday and Friday in Cleveland. Last year, Eagles 4-0, undefeated in the joint practices.
Putting the title on the line, baby.
See if they can continue in that undefeated fashion. But Sunday is the actual game against the Browns. How much do you think Carson Strong's going to play? Are they completely already over the evaluation? And listen, this guy's not going to make our roster. If we're cutting him, if we get him through to the practice squad, we'll make that decision when we get there. Or does he still have a chance as of the preseason game on Friday to beat out Reed Sinnett?
I think Reed Sinnett did more damage to Reed Sinnett than Carson Strong. Carson Strong has been Clayton Thorson-like in practice. I mean, he has looked completely overmatched. Can he change it? Yeah. I mean, if Bourne holds, Jalen Hurts is going to play in this next game.
Right.
They're going to take that, work he's gotten in joint practices and say, that's the work. That's the valuable work. And that means Gardner's going to start and be out quickly, I would think. Maybe after a couple drives, at the most a quarter, I would think. Then you got a lot of football. You're going to have Reed Sinnett play at all? I think Carson Strong will get in there a little bit. But, boy, I haven't seen even an inkling of he's ready to even be on the practice squad. Never mind an NFL roster.
All right, Johnny Mac, I brought this up with BLG when he was on, and BLG acknowledged it, and I think we all know it, that in handicapping Howie Roseman, who, again, Howie, great offseason so far. Rookie stepped in, Juergens, Davis, Nakobe Dean. Damn, all three of your first picks look pretty damn good. And that's the way the process goes. Howie's evaluated on a daily basis by Eagles Nation. And McMullen and McDonald here on Birds 365. Great day on Friday. But you've got the entire track record of Howie Roseman's history. And yes, from time to time, I wonder if they evaluate and put too much of an emphasis on where a player was drafted as to what they've actually shown and who's going to get capped, and the fact that there's some ego involved with this. Is there any ego involved with Carson Strong? I know, undrafted free agent, has no effect on the salary cap because he's not top 51, but they did give him over $300,000 in guaranteed money, and that is well reported, and everybody knows about it. And if he's cut and isn't even worthy of a practice squad position because Johnny Mac tells me, man, has he looked ugly in practice, is that going to affect the way Carson Strong is evaluated heading into this game on Sunday?
I don't think so.
Just money?
It's a rounding error. I mean, if he makes the team, his salary, I forget what the minimum salary, it's over it's 800,000 somewhere. He's making far more than that. To me, the ego comes into it with undrafted players, like I was saying to BLG. One of them's going to make the team, always, and not just in Philadelphia, every city. So, we always joke about Bo, the defending champion, Bo Wolf of The Athletic. We do the roster prediction game. I'm always very cognizant. I got to get an undrafted guy on here because There is always one, because the GM wants to say, hey, look, I found Jack Stoll under a rock. And, you know, I thought it was Britton Covey early. Britton Covey comes back to the pack. All of a sudden, Josh Jobe, Reed Blankenship, you guys mentioned as well. Undrafted guy's going to make the team. But when it comes to, all right, Carson got 320 grand. Josh Jobe got, I don't know, 100 and something. That part of it is just the rounding error. I mean, that doesn't mean anything for an NFL team, other than it does tell you when they signed Carson Strong, they thought he had a chance to be, to be that guy, and they were wrong. They won't keep him because of that 320 grand.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear, and I'm glad you said it, because when you have an opinion, you put your scouts evaluation $2, be they a couple of 100,000 in guarantees or a value of an NFL draft pick. They do vary a little bit, but you can read into it that they had a different evaluation than what you're seeing out there on the field. It's just better to suck it up and go, all right, we missed on that one. You're allowed to miss. You can't miss all the time, but not every general manager is perfect at every single evaluation they come to because of the information they're given from scouts. It's eventually their call when you get to the final evaluation. You can't get them all right, Howie. You got a bunch right this year. You've had a real good offseason if you have this one. And Carson Strong, hey, that's a Saratella guy. And you know I love Rick, and Rick is always ready, willing, and able to hop on with us. Rick stuck by Carson Strong all year long. Never wavered, thought he was one of the 5 best draft-eligible quarterbacks, stuck by it. His numbers were solid. We had the whole his degenerative knee thing was the reason why he didn't get drafted and fell all the way through all 7 rounds. But Ricky stuck by him, so I've been sticking by him as well. You said he's looked just well overmatched in practice.
No, man, I just looked it up when we were talking, Jody. 850, a little bit over 850 minimum. So if Josh Jobe makes the team or Reed Blankenship, that's what they're going to be making. So that 320, while it's meaningful, I'm not saying it's not meaningful because it's an indication. Look, he got more guaranteed money than any other undrafted free agent in the NFL. That tells you something, but it just means you're ahead when things start. It's not going to force a team in that direction.
So you're telling me that Jeff Lurie won't pick up the phone and go, and Howie, we still have to write that check to?
No, he won't even know it exists.
$350,000 isn't going to be grabbing the attention of the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, is what you're telling me?
And Josh Jobe got 135. I'm looking. So Noah Lease got 240. He got a ton. He's already on the non-football injury list. Kennedy Brooks got 240. Poor Reed Blankenship only got 55 grand, and he might be the leader in the clubhouse. So that kind of tells you that kind of money is not relevant in NFL circles.
Oh, you know what? I got to check. It just because you mentioned it, it dawned on me. What'd the kid from Brown do this weekend?
Oh, well, EJ Perry, I don't know.
Did he?
I know he got cut and brought back. He got cut already.
The Jags had cut him already?
Yeah, they cut him and brought in Kyle Sloter. No, but he's back. And then they cut Sloter and brought back EJ Perry. They already cut him once, and then they brought him back.
All right. Trevor actually played. And CJ Beathard played for the Jags. I'm not a CJ Beathard. The guys, the former 49er QBs, the Mullins and the Beathards of the world.
Nick made a couple. Nick's on the Raiders. He made a couple plays. I saw him make a couple.
I saw him yesterday. KP can't play. I basically say the same thing about Beathard, but I don't know about the kid from Brown. But the Eagles actually promised him good guaranteed money, but then they decided, no, we're going to go with Carson Strong instead. So they let him out of it. And the kid said, oh, okay. Maybe it was a handshake agreement, hadn't gone to paper yet, but the Eagles had also put good money on the table for him as an undrafted
what happened there is the Eagles wanted a quarterback and they put out offers to both, and EJ came right back and said, I'll take it. And Carson Strong had more options and was weighing, and eventually came back and accepted his. And then the Eagles went back to EJ Perry and said, look, you're going to be way down on the depth chart here. We'll let you out of this. And then he went to Jacksonville. But he's also, he's not going to make Jack. They have Trevor, CJ Beathard, as you mentioned, and is it Jake Luton? He played the majority as the third team quarterback. And they brought in Kyle Sloter and cut him. They'd cut EJ Perry when they brought in Kyle Sloter. I guess they had an injury. And then they cut Sloter and they brought back EJ Perry. I think he's still there, but I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah, and the Eagles haven't had to do that kind of that much of dropping and bringing back and filling rosters, because they're doing that, protect themselves by not going hard in practice thing, and they have not been overly burdened by injuries, so roster shuffling has not been all that prevalent here in Philadelphia. All right, they did make a couple cuts yesterday. I asked both Johnny and BLG about that. We'll come back and get John's perspective on who are the next three to go, because something's got to go down by 4:00 tomorrow. It's one of those deadlines. The NFL have kind of condensed the number of cuts that they have. Tomorrow's a cut down day, a week later than that, and then everybody's going to be down to 53. I'll come back and ask Johnny Mack, who is the Grim Reaper coming for next on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's McMullen. I'm McDonald. That's Mac and Mac Bird 365.